So King Solomon, let's look at his wives. Chapter 11, verse 1. King Solomon, however, and I thought this is interesting. He says he loved. So he loved his money, he loved his cars, and he loved his women. He had many foreign women besides Pharaoh's daughter. Pharaoh's daughter looked like the first wife that he married, but he was an international man. He loved the women from Moab, and he loved the women from Ammon, and he loved the women from Edom and Sidon, and he loved the Hittite women. And they were from the nations about which the Lord had told the Israelites, you must not intermarry with them because they will surely turn your hearts after their gods. Nevertheless, Solomon held fast to them in what? Love. So he loved, I love this one. And then he'd meet a new woman. I love you. And another woman. I love you. I mean, he was, the ultimate husband. And I'm guessing he was attracting those 96% of women that were like, Solomon, you got money and a nice vehicle? I'll marry you. Okay, you got him. So I want you to notice something. Come back with me to 1 Kings chapter 3. This is his first marriage. 1 Kings chapter 3. Don't lose 11. Don't lose chapter 11. 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 1. Solomon made an alliance with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and married his daughter. He brought her to the city of David until he finished building his palace and the temple of the Lord and the wall around Jerusalem. The people, however, were still sacrificing at the high places because the temple had not been built for the name of the Lord. So people were sacrificing on hills, mountains, and fields, and they were not supposed to be. They were supposed to be bringing their sacrifices to the tabernacle. The temple wasn't built, but the tabernacle was there, and they were told to bring it to the tabernacle. Now, look at verse 3. Solomon showed his love for the Lord by walking according to the instructions given him by his father, David, except, he's following the Lord, except, there's one little glitch here, except that he offered sacrifices and burned incense on the high places. So he's joining the people and offering sacrifices that he was not supposed to be doing. Now, how do we know he wasn't supposed to be doing that? Well, in the Bible, in Leviticus chapter 17, which was written 400 years before this, any Israelite who sacrifices an ox, a lamb, or a goat in the camp or outside of it, instead of bringing it to the entrance to the tent of meeting to present it as an offering to the Lord in front of the tabernacle of the Lord, that person shall be considered guilty of bloodshed. They have shed blood and must be cut off from their people. So there, God says, when you offer a sacrifice, you bring it to the entrance of the tabernacle. You bring it, it's to represent Jesus Christ. You bring it before the God the Father in the tabernacle. And if you sacrifice on the high hills and the fields, you're guilty of bloodshed. You need to be cut off. Verse 5, this is so that the Israelites will bring to the Lord the sacrifices they are now making in the open fields. They must bring them to the priest, that is to the Lord, at the entrance to the tent of meeting and sacrifice them as fellowship offerings. So Solomon, chapter 3, verse 3, Solomon's like, I follow the Lord, except one little exception, one little sin. I'm doing sacrifices at the high places. Now back to chapter 11. He's 20 years old. He just has a little sin in his life. But little sins have a habit of becoming big sins. If you don't get victory over sin when you're in your 20s, you should expect it to grow. So chapter 11, verse 4, as Solomon grew old, his wives turned his heart after other gods. And his heart was not fully devoted to the Lord his God, as the heart of David his father had been. He followed Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Molech, the detestable god of the Ammonites. So Solomon did evil in the eyes of the Lord. He did not follow the Lord completely, as David his father had done. On a hill east of Jerusalem, Solomon built a high place for Chemosh, the detestable god of Moab, and for Molech, the detestable god of the Ammonites. He did the same thing for all his foreign wives, who burn incense and offer sacrifices to their gods. The Lord became angry with Solomon because his heart had turned away from the Lord, the God of Israel, who had appeared to him twice. Wow! It started out when he was 20 years old, just with a little sin. I'm going to sacrifice at the high places, where God says, you don't do that. You're guilty of bloodshed. You bring the sacrifice in my presence. That's what he did at 20 years old. He basically followed the Lord, just had one little sin problem in his life. But now when he gets old, he's sacrificing to all kinds of gods. You see, it's the same sin at 20 and when he became 60. It just grew.